Okay, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about the movement action. If you have movement cards in your hand, you can place them on your group if the guys are not pinned. So if you have pinned guys, they cannot move, they need to rally first. But in this case we don't have any pinned guys, so we can play this one here. When you play a movement card, you flip this token directly. And for example, they maybe fire, so now it's the American turn. So the American turn can now fire on these guys or do whatever they want. And now we're coming back to this turn, to these guys again. They are now on the move. They will stay with this movement effect until they choose to play and terrain. So if they have this wood in their hand, they can place it. When they place a terrain card, they remove everything beneath it, so the movement card and the brush card goes away, and they are now considered to be in the wood. They could also play any card for its back effect, which is considered open ground, doesn't have any terrain effect modifiers, no decreasing or increasing for the fire. So that is how you get to move and how you stop to move. So for every time you move, there will always be a way for your opponent to have an opportunity fire, because you start your movement and then you, at the earliest, can end your movement on your next turn. You can continue to, but if you do not have any card or choose not to play any open effect cards, this movement will be in effect until you have played something. So maybe it takes 5 turns before you get the cards you want, or you should maybe have considered that before, to not start moving before you know where you can get. So you will be open here on the move for a long time if you're not playing carefully. But you can also play another movement card on top, expanding this again. You practically just legging it, you're making a sprint, you're advancing as fast as you can. But these of course will affect, these numbers here are an effect for the fire attack, so the brush takes away on the fire strength, but the movement adds on the fire strength. So for example, if we would not have this one, this would take away on the fire strength and this would add, so this would be a 0 effect modifier in total. But when you have 2 movement cards played on top of each other, you are considered to have left the terrain beneath you, behind you. So now you practically, you do not throw it away, because it can be game purpose timing effect. When you shuffle the deck, this card will stay here until the next terrain is played. But basically you can just do like that and say, okay, now I am in open terrain because I have left the brush, I have played 2 movement cards, so there is no effect for you from the brush. You can continue, of course, to play even more, as long as you do not pass the relative range of 5 between you and your opposing group. When you have played, as I said, the movement cards, you can place a terrain, and then we can throw away everything beneath this, and now you're considered to be in the woods. You can also play a regular movement card like this. Then you do not change this shit, but you are able to play another terrain card, because you cannot just play a new terrain card over here. You need to start moving first, of course. So if you are happy with the range that you are in, but you just want to get a new, better terrain, you can place like this. You can also place this to make a lateral group transfer, practically changing this to another, in this case not A, but C. You could swap if you play this at the same time, so these guys swap groups. But maybe you want to do a lateral group transfer to stop a group that is moving very quickly towards you and almost maybe will go behind you and make a natural flanking, or will maybe get to their objective quick. So maybe you want to stop them because they are maybe still at 0 and they are starting to get to 4 or 5. So that you can do, you can place it like this, and it's exactly the same as placing it normal, except that you do not get to advance your shit. You can also play a flank. If you play this card like this, it's a normal move, but if you place it like this, it has a special effect that says flank. It works like the same with when you play this card on the side. You can choose to not, just maybe to get to play a new terrain card, but what you do when you get a flank is that you are choosing another group directly adjacent, not opposed, and that group also need to have an opposing group, like this one have. That group do not have a directly opposed group, so he cannot flank that one. But group B can flank group A here, and then you play a flanking shit on that, which doubles the firepower, so it's easier to fire on them. So practically what they will do is they first play this flank card, and then they will react. Maybe they cannot do anything, and then the German group finds a brush, and now they are in brush terrain and have flanked this guy. The flank shit goes away if they start moving or if they play a terrain card. So for example, if they were already moving and got the flank shit, they can find a new terrain and then they are safe. But now when they do not have any move card, they need to start moving, but then they lose it directly, but then they are of course also exposed to fire. This group will lose its flanking fire if they move again, if they play a movement card. So they could find this new brush, but they will lose it in that way. Natural flanking can happen when you move from relative range 5. So say that group and this group was at relative range 5 to each other, and then the German squad group move forward, making them relative range 4, and then they have like passed each other and get a natural flanking. So then they flank each other if it would be like this, that they both had opposing group. But say for example the American group over here was eliminated, and then the German group B moved from a relative range of 5 to a relative range of 4 against this group. Then they get to place a flanking shit on the American group, but the American group cannot do it to the German group because they are not directly opposed any other group. Hope that makes sense. You can also have one more movement card that is special here. It's a ford. Basically, when you are in a stream, water, you need to make a ford attempt, which is a random check, to be able to enter the ford or start crossing the ford. But if you have a ford card, you can play it like this, and then it will automatically succeed success with that check. And as a nice Board Game Geek user remind me of how to you can also move backwards. For example, I can play this to move to decrease this number, to move backwards, starting to retreat. But you can only retreat if the closest group to you would get you to not below 0. So for example, now when we are all at 0, so we have a relative range of 0, you could not retreat. But for example, say if this group was at range 1, the closest group to you, which is this one, they are at relative range 1 to this group, then you could play and retreat. If they were at 1, they can play any movement card and retreat to a 0. If they again would want to retreat because they are scary and they are already at 0, then to be able to play this negative retreat movement backward, the movement card need to have a red number over here to be able to get to use these red range shits. So that is why they are red, because you need to have a red number when retreating beyond the 0. That is basically how movement works. It's maybe I made it sound more hard than it actually is, but it's pretty simple. It's you play a movement card and go forward. Often you want to go forward, so this retreating movement is very scenario specific. Or if you're starting to get surrounded and encircled by other troops. Okay, thank you for watching.